Okay, here we go. I got these AirPods in today because the last few times we've done the AMAs on the phone and not on my desktop have been happy with the audio. So hopefully, if somebody chimes in, let me know if you can hear me, if the audio is okay. So this is the Ask Me Anything for April 24th, 2025. Okay, here we go. Of course, I've got all the questions called up, both from the Linchpin private Facebook group as well as the squads feature in the BTWB app. And I've got some shout outs to do as always. So let's start with the shout outs. Shout out number one. This is from Justin D. Melanie, can you hear me? I got these AirPods in. I don't know if they're working. I did a little test. I think they're working, but let me know if the audio's terrible. Okay, this is from Justin D. We just did the Chief recently, and he got himself an unexpected PR. And for a couple of the rounds during the 3 minute intervals, he held 6 rounds of the Chief in a 3 minute interval. Okay, good. Audio's cool. That blows my mind. People who do the Chief and at some point in time somehow get 6 rounds of work done in that 3 minute window, it is staggering to me. I mean, you're doing a round every 30 seconds, basically. My wife did it for a couple of the 3 minute things. We couldn't hold on to it. I just shook my head. It's crazy. So, anyway, Justin, that's insane, man. And he scored 27 rounds even over the course of the Chief, which was good enough for level 90 on BTWB, which is insane. Next shout out. This one pains me because I just made myself a note, but I forgot to write down her name. I just did the note, so I'm so sorry. Um, I've got it in my head, but again, her name escapes me at the moment. But she basically made a post that she did the Chief once again. Um, we've done it before. She did it again. And this time she got 2 rounds less overall than she did whatever it was, 6 months or 8 months ago that we did it. But she had 30 more pounds on the barbell. 30 more pounds. That is a huge increase in the difficulty of the Chief. And so for over the course of the entire 3 minute AMRAPs of the Chief, to only have been down 2 rounds compared to last time, but you had 30 more pounds on the barbell is insane. So huge congratulations. I'm so sorry that I can't, again, I didn't get enough coffee this morning. But that also relates to, I hope people realize, because sometimes, and she didn't post it like this, but sometimes people won't realize that what she posted, even though it's 2 rounds less, the human brain might see that as I didn't do as well as I did last time. But if you calculate the extra work you had to do by adding 30 more pounds to the barbell, even though the overall score is 2 rounds less, I would consider that a gigantic improvement in PR. So again, the human being brain can be interesting. One more shout out. A couple more shout outs. This is from DE. This is what he has to say. Some wins. 3 months in with Linchpin, and I've never felt better. I PR'd the Chief today and went up from 40 kilograms to 50 kilograms on the bar with 4 more rounds compared to the last time I did it before joining Linchpin. That was wonderfully brutal. I have PR'd all major lifts, including Olympic lifts, by an average of at least 10 kilograms each. I PR'd my 2K row by 25 seconds this week. Then I did a 100 kilogram back squat for 2 reps in the heavy day this week, up from 90 kilograms previously. I never thought I would get to that weight. Uh, Isabel went up 10 kilograms and was done 1 minute and 9 seconds faster than last time. I've been doing this on and off since 2010, and it always felt like brute force trauma. Linchpin is different, it works, and I love it. I have the energy back now to play and throw my kids around in the morning before and after work. And my wife is now starting Linchpin as well. Linchpin community for the community of the century. Very, very cool. So that's awesome. And then one more shout out, and then we'll get into the questions today. This is from Alexandra S. Said, I just want to take a moment to thank you, offering your programming at an affordable price to the rest of us when you don't have to. How much thought, intelligence, time, and effort you put into the programming you're changing lives and helping all of us to be more capable, more knowledgeable, skilled, stronger, faster, and just better human beings. Linchpin is the poster child for what CrossFit programming can do when it's done well. Thank you so much. Very, very cool. So let's go ahead. There's a ton of questions today. A ton. I'm going to do my absolute best to get through all of them, but I'm going to start off with the one, even though I usually go in order, but I'm going to start off with the one that I decided I would use as the name of this episode, which I think I named it something like When Working Out is Not Fun Anymore. What do you do? So let's go ahead and dive into that. Here's the question from Andrew G. I definitely could use your advice today, coach. I'm stuck in a pretty bad funk right now and I can't seem to climb out of it. I'm no longer having fun doing CrossFit or working out in general, quite frankly. I still go into the gym and I have some good days, but mostly I've been having bad days. I'm not injured and I'm not feeling burned out or beat up. But what was once my favorite part of the day has now turned into a chore. And here's the kicker: I don't want to quit CrossFit, but at the same time, I just don't have fun with it anymore. This is a perfect example of fitness is easy, but people are hard, right? Do I just need to take a step back for a while? Any advice would be great. Thanks for everything. I really like this question. I think it's brutally honest. And I think if you plan on working out, not just for a couple weeks or a couple months, but like for your entire life, you're probably going to feel this way at some point in time. So I try to put some thoughts down on paper so I didn't ramble, but here we go. Um, where do I start? Okay, so here we go. This is going to be brutally honest. I wrote down there are two sides to me answering this question. There's the gentle, kind, empathetic side and answer. And then there's the nobody cares, do it anyway side. And we're going to talk about both sides because I think they both have value. One's the little angel on one of my shoulders, and one is the little devil on the other side of on the other shoulder. We'll start with the kind and empathetic answer and the angel, if you will. First of all, I believe you. I believe what you're saying is true. I believe you are properly expressing how you feel 100%. The important thing I would say is to discover why do you think it is that you're feeling this way? Did something change in your life? Did something change at work? Did something change with your family, your relationship with friends? Did something inside of you change? Values, whatever it happened to be, like search for anything that you can find as the root cause of why you're feeling this way, which seems to be a dramatic variation from how you felt for a long time. If you can't find something or find what that answer is, maybe be vulnerable and ask those that are closest to you and care about you the most for help with this. Tell them what you're going through and ask maybe if there's something that you're missing. Do they see anything that has changed, is different, or has shifted, etc.? Because sometimes when you're the one in the arena, right, just living your life going through the grind, you don't notice some of the things that have happened, and those closest around you, they see things kind of clearly, and they can sometimes give you a layer of truth and visibility that you don't have for whatever reason. So I would ask those around you to help you. Once you identify it, try to figure out a process or some steps to address it so you can correct it. Take the time that you need for you, right? You're feeling burnt out, you need to step away. I don't know if that's for a day, a week, a month, but like you need to take the time that you need to get yourself good, right? I mean, mental health, emotional health, and well being, those are no joke. They're of critical importance. And so they need to be given that respect. Okay. We're going to table that. This is the difficult thing about the answer is I feel like both of these parts are true, even though they might seem like they're kind of in contrast. Now we're going to table that, the nice little angel, and we're going to get to the harsher devil there on the side. So now this is the nobody cares, do it anyway side. Human beings are organisms that need many things to actually thrive in this world: community, intellectual stimulation, relationships, sense of purpose. I mean, the list goes on and on and on as to what humans need to optimize themselves and to thrive. Um, but in that ball of things that we need to optimize ourselves and thrive is also we require fuel, movement, and rest. Those are the, I'd say most people would probably agree that you need a, if you want to optimize your experience on this planet, fuel, movement, and rest are a really big deal. Fuel, obviously, the food that you eat with an eye for both quality and quantity. That's going to optimize you as a human being. Movement is critically important. And why? Well, just think about what's the opposite. The opposite of movement is a life of inactivity and basically being sedentary. And I think history has shown pretty well that a life of being inactive and sedentary leads to rather tragic outcomes. So I think it's fair to say that movement is very, very important. And people care about you. You need to care about yourself as well. So if you want to be the best version of yourself for you, your family, your friends, being productive in life, productive in work, the whole nine yards, everything that I just said and a whole lot more is critically important to include proper fuel and movement. So that would mean staying active, even though you're not feeling like you want to stay active because it's not fun anymore. Staying active is really, really important regardless of personal feelings on the subject. So that's an interesting that both can coexist at the same time. Can you make it fun? I hope so. I would say just do something, do anything. It doesn't matter what it is. If maybe you're not feeling for CrossFit for a while, don't do CrossFit, but somehow stay involved in physical culture. I know this is tough because you said in your question that it's not just CrossFit, working out in general. You just working out in general right now just feels like the last thing that you want to do, and it's not fun at all. And I believe you. But man, there's a huge area under the curve of physical culture and activity that you could do from CrossFit to not CrossFit to just running, just kettlebells, just lifting, just calisthenics, just swimming, just mountain biking. Even under lifting, you just want to do bodybuilding style stuff. You just want to do the power lifts. You just want to do the Olympic lifts. I mean, like almost limitless. And out of those 20, 30, 40, 50 different activities that you could think of, is there one that kind of puts a little smile on your face? If so, wrap your arms around it, embrace it, and do that maybe until you get out of this funk. Because I would say, this is why we do what we do. The goal is to eventually get back to what we're doing with CrossFit, with Linchpin, functional movements. Because functional movements, we don't just do them because they're fun. We do them because life demands them. They're what's going to give us the greatest capacity, the most bang for our buck. They're the basis of human movement. They're going to keep you out of the nursing home. They're going to give you the highest quality life for as long as possible. So it would be great to get back to doing functional movements. And what makes progress? Expressing intensity relative to the individual's physical and psychological tolerances, aka working hard. So functional movements and working hard yield really good things, but also you're not feeling it right now. So all these things exist at the same time. But my goal would be to eventually get back to functional movements and to pushing yourself with some degree of intensity. Because find something to do. Because the opposite is inactivity, regression, and decay. And we don't want that. So I try to find something physical to do. You could also potentially just cherry pick. Is cherry picking going to optimize your fitness? No, because by its very nature, you might avoid doing things that you don't like. But if you just need to cherry pick for a day, a week, a month, or whatever to get out of a funk, absolutely worth it, especially because you'd still be doing functional movements. Maybe you just, I don't know, I'm going to make this really simple. You love DT, okay? And you love 5x5 back squat, and you love death by burpees. You probably don't love death by burpees, but I'm just going to say it because it popped into my mind. So you love DT, you love a 5x5 back squat, and you love death by burpees. And those actually you find easy to do because you love them. Well, I don't know. What if for the next month you only worked out 3 times a week? On Monday, you did 5x5 back squat. On Wednesday, you did DT. And on Friday, you did death by burpees. And then you ate well and you rested those other times. Would you be optimizing your fitness? No. Would you be a beast? Yes. Because most people aren't doing anything. So you would be a beast. So again, cherry pick if you need to and do it for as long as you have to get back. And you could cherry pick workouts, you could cherry pick loadings, you could cherry pick time domains, whatever it is that you want. Keep yourself in the game. You could also just reduce intensity for as long as you need, again, to get feeling good again. Basically anything and everything is an option for you. Um, you know, playing this game of like how long do you feel like you need a bit of a rest? Again, we're still this is the devil. The devil has a lot to say. The harsh one has a lot to say. Somebody says, "Okay, I feel like I need an extra rest day." Cool, take an extra rest day. I feel like I need a week off. Okay, all right, go ahead, take a week off. I feel like I need a couple weeks off. Hmm, that's a decent amount of time. That's something's going on. Now we want to know what's going on. It's a little alarming. Are you okay, et cetera, et cetera. So my goal for you, even if you don't want to hear it, but you asked for my advice, um, would be try to be the sort of, again, all the angel stuff still applies. Seek those around you. Why is this happening? Get to the root of it. Your feelings are true. They are valid. All that stuff. The other part is we understand that staying physically active is important. Eating healthy is important. So trying to keep these things in our life is mission critical. So you're not enjoying them. Roger that. I would say try to be the sort of person that does what is necessary, not necessarily what you want or enjoy. That would be some of the little devil talking as well. That gets back to the whole discipline versus motivation thing, where motivation's fleeting. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. So if you only do things when you have motivation or when you're fun, you may not do them all the time. If you have it as part of your lifestyle because you understand the benefits of it and you have the discipline to execute that plan, you'll stick with it through times of high motivation or times of low motivation. Okay. Um, and just to give this same example painted in a couple different lights, and no analogy is perfect. So sorry, don't hold, it's not a perfect analogy, but you're saying that you want to, you're burnt out on something that's good for you. And I'm trying to say, find something else to replace it for a while, then come on back. Play the same game with some other things. And if a loved one came up to you and said, "Hey, you know what? Man, I am just so burnt out eating good food. Absolutely burnt out doing it. I don't like it. It's not fun. It's hard, and I don't look forward to it. I need a break. I am just going to take a break, and I'm going to eat only junk food and drink soda for the next year because I'm just over it." Ideally, if you love the person who said this, you'd be like, "Whoa, pump the brakes. That doesn't sound like a good idea. That's going to be very bad for your long-term health, your mental acuity. It'll probably affect your relationships, et cetera, et cetera. Like, can we find some middle ground? Like, what's going on?" I would have the same conversation with you face to face, about how you're feeling in the gym. Let's figure it out. Let's get to the bottom of it. But moving your body is really important to being a happy, healthy human being. So let's find something that works for you and try to identify that problem. Um, and I've been very vocal about this, for better or for worse. Uh, I often don't enjoy working out. I'll say it again. Often I do not enjoy working out. I do every now and then. Okay, every now and then, but most of the time I walk into the gym because I should. And I walk into the gym because I need to. And I walk into the gym because I know that it's good for me. And I understand that whether I enjoy the next 30 to 60 minutes, what I will get for the rest of my life is 10x benefit in that. And that is a ratio that I'm very happy with. And so um, I know that it works. And I know that it's also good for me, not just physically, but between the ears mentally as well, even on the days that I don't want to walk in there. And I'll do some of the stuff, my friend, that I said to you all the time. Some days I'll walk in, if I'm not feeling it, I'll scale more than I should. Um, I'll modify one movement in a way just to get me in there. There's a workout that I do. This doesn't happen too frequently, but I'll do it every now and then on a day that I'm just not feeling it. And again, like you said, not burnt out, not injured. Like I'm just not feeling it. Um, I'll break out the 100-pound D ball and I'll do like 15, 12, 9, 6, 3 of a ground to shoulder with the D ball and calories on the air bike. And I'll walk in and I'll do it with no warm up. And then I'll walk back in the house knowing that I did something. And allowing myself to do that every now and then keeps me in the game. So I would say finding something that keeps you in the game is a good thing. You know, I don't floss my teeth every day because I enjoy it. There's a whole lot of things in life you do because it's worth it, because it gets you to the long-term goal that is more valuable than the short-term effort, however you want to say it. So anyway, and I do care about you, my friend. That's why I'm being brutally honest with you for both the good, the bad, and the ugly on that. So hopefully between those, the angel and the demon right there, the angel and the devil that just spoke, something there helps you and resonates you. And also post about this as a standalone question in BTWB and as a standalone question in the Lynchpin private Facebook group and get feedback from other people, because I certainly don't know everything. That's for darn sure. Just ask my wife. Okay. All right. Where are we going next? All right. So let's go with Dorke says, I watch most of the daily training videos since joining in the beginning of April, granted not that long, and I notice you don't mention the no equipment option each day. Why is that? True. I'm going to visit my mom in Hungary in a few weeks, and I'll be staying there for more than 6 weeks, and I'll probably be having a pull-up bar, won't have much gear. That's cool. Enjoy the trip to Hungary, and um, yeah, the no equipment option will treat you great. I generally don't discuss the no equipment option in the daily video because it's just so straightforward. And just, I guess that's the best way to say it. So straightforward. It's just there for you and just go ahead and execute. Next one from the BTWB is from Freddie T. My family is moving out of our house this week for a 4 to 6 month renovation, and that means leaving my home garage gym. Ooh, sad about leaving the garage gym. Probably awesome for the renovation. I'm going to a CrossFit gym during the remodel and will do Linchpin at the open gym, but I need to go Monday through Friday for my 5 days of Linchpin each week. I'm 38 years old with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and my body really agrees with the Thursday rest day. Any guidance on how to look at the week's workouts or just make sure that my body isn't beat up going 5 days on and 2 days off? Okay. 5 days on, 2 days off. Again, you're a busy dad, you got stuff going on, your body likes the rest day, but life doesn't care, right? So you're gonna have to work out 5 days on and 2 days off for a while. No worries. Smash all five ones together, knock them out back to back to back to back. And the only thing that I would say is modulating intensity for you is probably going to be really important because without that rest day on Thursday to break things up, if you try to drop the hammer Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you don't get a rest day, then you try to drop the hammer on Thursday and you've got 72 hours of training catching up with you, Thursday and Friday are going to probably really be a slog. And they don't have to be a slog. So I would look at the 5 workouts smushed together, and depending upon how you modulate intensity, I would pick probably 2 of those days to knock it back to moderate or low intensity, and the other 3 days are days that I'm going to push it, and I would base that off of what workouts you choose to drop the hammer on, when is the heavy day and all that, but I wouldn't probably try to drop the hammer 5 days a week on 5 on and 2 off. You might be a bit different, you might be a savage, you can get away with that, but most people, it won't treat them well. So I would intentionally take it easy a couple of those days. And you could take it easy in the middle of the week, on you could take it easy on Tuesday, Thursday, right? Or Wednesday, Thursday. Or you could allow yourself Thursday and Friday just to know that those at the end of the week and they're not going to be great. And you hammer Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a little bit unlimited, but pay a lot of attention to the modulating intensity. Let's see. From Rishi P, how often and when do you recommend a deloading, or is that already programmed in? Great question, my friend. And we've done a couple episodes on that, so I'm going to point you to those. For deloads, listen to or watch Linchpin Conversations number 365, as well as Linchpin Conversations number 81. And those should go ahead and get you covered for that. From Joshua J. When will your wife, Emily, make another appearance on the AMAs, or maybe she could even do a member interview? The chance I can't give you any sort of a good chance on that, Joshua. Truth be told, she does not enjoy the camera. She gets shy, it gives her anxiety, she doesn't like it. It's really, really difficult for me to get her on here. So I can't make any promises on that. I do let her know every now and then, like, hey, people are asking about you. They'd love to see you again, but it's not her thing. What's funny and totally just off topic, but it's not really my thing either, believe it or not. I am not an extrovert. Nope. I am rather introverted, which is hysterical. And life has an interesting sense of irony because for as long as I can remember, a major part of my job has been like public speaking, talking to people, getting on camera. I mean, the total opposite of what an introvert would want to do, which is, again, just ironic. Um, but yeah, no, it's very difficult to get her on there. Okay, let's see. Jake S. Hey, Pat, I joined a few months ago. Hey, Jake. And I'm really enjoying the programming. I follow the program at a standard, reasonably equipped gym. There are rowing machines, but they're not the standard Concept 2 you see in gyms. It's a non-Concept 2 rower. It's okay. I've noticed when there's rowing involved, my times, for example, a 500-meter or 1,000-meter interval, are darn near elite. I'm decent, but I also have the self-awareness to know that I am not an elite rower. So I think my gym's rowing is running a bit fast. I'm definitely huffing and puffing after whatever's programmed in the rower. So I think I'm still hitting the intended stimulus. I just want to check whether this is small potatoes in the big picture or I'm robbing myself and should be making an adjustment. Cool question, because I think this can apply to people, I don't know, that picked up an old Schwinn Airdyne at a yard sale and it's not exactly calibrated like a Rogue Echo bike or something else. So um, the my short answer is I think it's small potatoes, my friend. I think you're good to go. I totally think you're good to go. Uh, I mean, let's say, and I don't have the things right here in my head, but let's say for a 500-meter row in a workout, in a multi-round workout, that people are going to pull somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 minutes. I'm talking guys for 2 minutes. Minute 45 if you're an absolute beast, maybe like 2:10, but there's so somewhere around 2 minutes ish. Okay. And your rower runs a bit fast, and so that 2 minutes ish for you is at the same level of effort as a minute 40. Okay, 20 seconds different. But if that person on, in the grand scheme of things, that 20 seconds, it's not worth you losing a moment of sleep about. And even on like an interval day, 5 by 500-meter rows, somebody pours their heart out on the rower, goes crazy. They row I don't know, a 139. They get a great row. Yours is like this elite level, you row a 130. 9 seconds on the rower on a 500-meter row is a massive difference. It's a massive difference in leaderboard standings, but it's not a massive difference in the energy systems and how you athletically developed. And this person pulled for 9 seconds longer and you pulled for 9 seconds shorter, minute 30 versus minute 39. If both of you exerted yourself to your maximal effort, recovered, and then did it again, and there was just that 9-second difference on your rower versus the other rower, fitness is achieved. Small potatoes. Let's see. Okay, Josh B. I'm hoping you can answer Freddie T's question, and you can also address Mike's question in the squad's chat from earlier this week, namely, if we need to take Wednesday off rather than Thursday. If we need to take Wednesday off instead of taking Thursday off, which does a better job of preserving your intent with regards to the order of the workouts? Number one, move Wednesday's workout to Thursday, or number two, do Thursday, Friday workouts on Monday, Tuesday, and then do the Monday, Wednesday workouts on Thursday through Saturday. I hope that's not too confusing of a question. I am confused. And it's probably not on you, my friend. It's probably on me not being caffeinated enough. But if I am understanding what you're saying from those ones that you laid out, I think option number one, if I'm understanding it correctly, would be the better option, which is moving Wednesday's workout to Thursday, which would mean you take Wednesday as a rest day instead of Thursday, and then you work out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and that would keep the workouts in that same order, and you would just switch a rest day. If I'm understanding you correctly, that's my answer. I hope that I did. Let's see. Chris T, coming back to CrossFit. Okay. And my cardio is not close to where it used to be. When there are burpees in a workout, we have another burpee question coming up. When there are burpees in a workout, it seems the workout takes forever due to me having to catch my breath. Would you recommend scaling the movement or reducing the number of burpees in a workout? It just depends, my friend. I know that's such an unsatisfying answer, right? Because, it seems like it takes forever, but what's actually happening? If there's Um, let's say it's a 5 round workout. You've got multiple things going on. Each round has 15 burpees in it. Okay. And that 15 burpees, I'm just throwing these numbers out there. Okay. So don't get wrapped around the axle about that. During the minute, that 15 burpees takes on average somebody a minute. It'll probably take them a little bit more than that for simple math. It takes them a minute. What's it taking you? You say it feels like it's taking forever. Does that mean it's taking you a minute 15? Because that mathematically might seem like a lot, right? It's 25% longer. Is it taking you a minute 30? That's 50% longer. Or is it taking you like 3 minutes instead of 1 minute? Do you know what I mean? If it's taking you, you're just getting back into it, like you said, by your own admission, having stayed away from CrossFit for a while, your conditioning has suffered. And so, everyone else is doing the burpees in a minute and it's taking you a minute 30. If that's what we're talking about, I wouldn't sweat it too much because as we continue to do everything, your conditioning will improve and that time will come down. But if it's significantly so, like I said, that 1 minute is taking you, 2.5 minutes or something like that, yeah, we may want to go ahead and reduce that a little bit. And especially if you feel like there is a tremendous amount of standing around, then you could just also do it for a time domain as well. If it's a 5 round workout and there's, again, 12 to 15 burpees per round, then you're right now going to do, when it comes to the burpees, you're just going to do as many burpees as you can in a minute, 15 seconds, and then move on to the next movement. So you could play it that way as well. But I have a feeling this will work itself out if you allow yourself just to be out of breath for a while and recover and do some more. Again, as long as the overall volume isn't too much for you, I think it's going to work itself out. Dan W. Would you recommend Linchpin for an absolute beginner? I came here with 2 years of affiliate CrossFit and I knew my capability, the movement standards, how to bail, etc. So it was a smooth transition to online. For someone unconditioned and never having touched a barbell, is the affiliate route better? Well, it just depends on the individual. Rewind the clock many, many, many years ago, myself and all my knucklehead friends when we first got into CrossFit, just coming from just a bodybuilding Gold's Gym routine we used to do of like back and buys and lat pull downs, no complicated movements, no deadlifts, no back squats, no cleans, no kips, no box, like no none of that stuff. Um, we just started figuring it out in our garage. All of us did with no training, no coaching, no nothing. Just try to watch a video. "Ah, I guess that kind of looks like that, and all of us figured it out fine, and here we are. There's tons and tons and tons of people in Linchpin who are living the life that you said. There's tons of people in Linchpin who this is their first exposure to all of this stuff, and they figured it out, and they're great. And we've got plenty of people that came from different programs. We've got other people that came from uh, in-person gyms all around the world, be them CrossFit gyms or not CrossFit gyms. Like literally, I've seen a broad enough swath of people after doing this for so many years that I know the answer is yes. Like, because I see it happen all the time. I've seen tons of just total beginners show up, as long as they have the ability to remove ego and be open to learning, can do it. Now, maybe make it might it be a slower trajectory for somebody that probably had an amazing coach standing next to them being like, "That and open your hips right there." Well, yeah, that person would probably advance quicker. But if is the question, can it be done? 100% can be done. I see it's been and it continues to happen all the time. Told you, we got a lot of questions today. Jonas M. Okay. Hey, Pat. Hey, Jonas. I recently got strict ring muscle ups through the Very Not Random program in Beyond the Whiteboard. Congratulations. That's legit. Strict ring muscle ups is no joke. And I've been adding them to workouts to continue to build the skill and my capacity. For example, when we did Amanda the other day, I did a 5-4-3 rep scheme for the ring muscle ups to keep the intensity higher while still working the skill. I've tried kipping them and can't quite figure it out. In some of the videos I've watched, the pull is different, more towards the eyes than the middle of the chest. How do you perform and train a kipping ring muscle up? Should I have a base of strict ring muscle ups before I learn to kip? So for the second question, should you have strict ring muscle ups before you learn to kip? I would say yes. You know what you also might find useful in learning how to kip? Again, if you develop that strict base, which it sounds like you have, you can also have a band setup, might be a bit elaborate, but it can be done with the rings to allow yourself to play with a kip with a little bit of a band assist to feel the positions a bit more. And you could also even play with um, low ring muscle ups, but on the higher side. Because some people, as they're starting to develop towards ring muscle ups, if they have the ceiling height to play with, just like you can do jumping pull-ups, well, you can do a jumping ring muscle up. So you can maybe, a good thing for you to try, Jonas, would be if you have the ceiling height, put the rings up to a position where you can have a good false grip in the rings. Your arms are fully extended, but you got a little bit of a bend in your legs, so you're going to be able to jump off the rings, jump off the floor, I mean, and through that jumping off the floor, get some hip drive and start to figure out how that kip is actually going to take place. And there's most certainly excellent instructional videos just on YouTube. If you type in, how to perform kipping ring muscle ups, you can find some excellent gymnastics instruction there. Break it down frame by frame, video yourself, and see what is that point for you that seems to be kind of eluding you a little bit. But yes, I would have strict ring muscle ups first. Okay, on to the private Facebook group. Here we go. Billy S. I have an intermediate level CrossFit competition on Saturday. Today's Thursday, it's in 2 days. And I've been somewhat following the normal schedule, but trading for some EMOMs this week. I've dropped down my intensity to around 70% over the last few days and plan on taking rest days on Thursday and Friday, or at a minimum, just doing some warm up routines and a cool down. What would be the best approach for tapering down workouts in preparation for competition? I guess I should have asked this question a few weeks ago. In all honesty, oh, here it goes again. It depends. It depends on how grueling and demanding the competition is. I know that you said it's an intermediate level. I'm not quite sure what that means, to be honest with you. I'm sure that that word is open to interpretation as well. Um, but that has a big thing to do with like how demanding and serious is this competition with regards to how many workouts are you going to do? How brutal will the loadings be? Like, is there decent rest periods between them? Is it crammed back to back to back? How serious are you taking this? Do you actually really care where you place and like want it, or are you just doing it for fun? All of those things matter. But if you're generally prepared, like you said, it's intermediate. So let's say it's not astonishingly crazy, but it's a little bit more than just a community throwdown. Um, and you're taking 2 days fully off before it, and you've done like you said, load intensity over this week. I think all things considered for, like you said, a 1 day intermediate level competition, it sounds like you made some pretty good decisions. So I would think you're on a good track right there. Steve S. Coach, I've heard you say that in CrossFit we are exposed to the most technically demanding thing when it comes to weightlifting, which is the snatch. But when it comes to gymnastics, we only scratch the surface. For example, the muscle up is just the way that gymnasts actually mount the rings to then do something they consider mildly difficult. In your opinion, what are some of the worthy gymnastics pursuits outside of the typical handstands or pull-up muscle-up skills for the garage gym athlete? Cool question, and I think like what I said about the barbell, like it's true. Like the most technically complicated thing you can do with the barbell is a snatch. We do it. But gymnastics is, with regards to your question, go to AI, okay, and type into AI, give me a list of skills and movements in the sport of gymnastics. Make sure you say the sport. In the sport of gymnastics, begin with beginner level, move to intermediate, and end with the most complex and advanced. The list will be so long, it will absolutely boggle your mind. So that's just the point that I was making. The other thing is, I don't think what I don't want anyone to think is that just because we expose ourselves to what a gymnast, like somebody who's like a D1 or Olympic level gymnast, what a gymnast would consider complicated skills, we don't do. We do very, very, very basic skills. Don't misconstrue that the basic movements that we do don't cover the overwhelming majority of bases that we need to be ferociously fit, fast, and strong and capable for the rest of our lives. And you could do them and nothing else and be totally good to go. It's just like, hey, it's a big gymnastics world out there, and controlling your body weight is far more difficult than most people give it the respect and credit for. Um, and there are some things that, might have benefit and you wouldn't necessarily put into uh, a workout, but if you want to play with things like the scales are really cool because they require flexibility and balance. Scales are fantastic, but you wouldn't really put them into a workout, generally speaking. I know that they can be involved in certain ones. I watch my daughter every week go to gymnastics, and like the balance beam is so cool. I'm not saying we're gonna put a balance beam into a workout, right? Like 21 15 9 of a thruster paired with a pirouette on a balance beam or a back handspring. We're not doing that. But like even a balance beam, I would actually like to have a balance beam in my garage. Okay, there I said it. But I'm not talking one that's 3 or 4 feet off the ground. I mean one that is even 2 inches off the ground, just and narrow like a balance beam, just to practice forward, back walks and doing scales and things like that on the balance beam. Like there's just a tremendous amount of just body awareness from even something very simple like that would serve you well for life. Again, and we're not going to put it into a workout. Um, you know, levers are incredibly, difficult and challenging. Even with handstand stuff, static hold handstands would be great. I mean, just developing a static hold for as long as you possibly could. And then for handstand walking, not just walking forwards, walk sideways, walk backwards, things of that nature. But you know what's interesting about um, Hector, my friend, how are you? I said, enjoying the rest day. Yes. Uh, what's interesting about gymnastics, and I've talked to enough gymnasts to realize this, and I see it every week when I go to gymnastics, and I've heard it from my wife for years, is like so many things, gymnastics is built on a sequence that I don't think people realize how long the sequence takes of layering skills that are so basic and so boring, and you do thousands of repetitions building strength, body awareness, and then you layer a bit of difficulty and complexity. And it takes years to get to what most CrossFitters just want to jump into, which is why I think a fair number of, you know, high level gymnasts roll their eyes when some 35-year-old CrossFitter who has a good Fran, and that's about it, suddenly goes, "Hey, teach me a backflip." And they're like, in their mind, they're thinking, there's like 5 years of things that you would want to work on every single solitary day before you even thought that saying that would be a good idea. But most of us don't want to work on the 5 years of the just boring basics. It's just, let's get out the mats and let's learn this thing. And so for most of us, not that train has, left the station, but we do the basics and we do them, and they're profoundly valuable. But there is a whole bunch of other stuff out there that you could probably dip your toe in that isn't as crazy as I said, just, hey, teach me a backflip at 35, et cetera, et cetera. Um, yeah, gymnastics are cool. Let's see here. John W. Of course, it's from John W. Real life talk here. Thoughts on how to work up to long sets of burpees. Should I add in some accessories? Should I throw them into warm-ups, etc., etc.? Should I just replace every movement with burpees? I don't know if you are if this is a real question or not. John, anyway, for anyone who doesn't know, John loves burpees, absolutely loves burpees. And he is an open heart surgery survivor. I mean, and so he's getting himself back into fitness and all this. And the man loves burpees, which is just crazy. I'm going to treat this like a real question. You want to work up to long sets of burpees? How should you do it? I would attack it with many different angles because variance is your friend. If you really want to do this, maybe a few days a week, you could do some which would be task priority and some which would be like time priority. So maybe, a task priority would be 50 burpees as quick as you can, or 30 burpees as quick as you can, or 100, like whatever it happens to be. Time priority would be for 2 minutes, how many burpees? For 4 minutes, for 6 minutes, et cetera, et cetera. How many burpees can I get in that realm? I could do EMOMs and things like that, burpee box jump overs, and so. But I wouldn't just do you know 50 burpees for time Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I would attack it from multiple different angles, from short to medium to long, and some where you just allow yourself to grind out, almost develop that conditioning, right? So I'm going to just do 12 minutes of burpees. How awful does that sound? If you're doing 12 minutes of burpees, the pace is going to slow down, but I'm going to do this long, slow session. But then I'm also going to do 1 minute burpee intervals every now and then because hitting it from both sides is actually going to give me that capacity as well. So I would attack it from multiple angles, and there's probably everybody at Lynchpin right now is hoping that I'm not going to have them do it right there along with you. See, Steve says, I don't attack burpees, burpees attack me. Okay, let's see here. Corey C. Do you have any recovery methods you frequently use if you are sore or beat up after a week of training, or just weekly, monthly maintenance, etc.? Massage, ROMWOD, protein shake, chiropractor, etc. Um, Short answer, no. Um, I do the workout, I do the cool down, I stretch, I religiously stretch every single solitary time, and that's about it. What I will do, if something has hit me with a little bit of extra spice, um, and I can give you one of the more recent ones that happened. Was it a couple weeks ago? We did the 10 down to 1 of the back squat. It was 185 for guys prescribed. Back squat. What else did it have? Ring rows. Did it have burpees and then an L sit in it? That 10 down to 1 back squat deal, that burnt my biscuits, and we've done that one before. I don't know why it hit different on that day. That thing burnt my biscuits like it hasn't happened in a while. I was dosed up. And when I find myself in that position, what I did over the course of the next couple days is maybe counterintuitive. Instead of not using my legs and not going below parallel, I very intentionally went below parallel. Like I moved my legs in the exact position that caused all that soreness. And when I find myself in a position like that, I I think it helps so much. So over the next couple of days, even just standing here at my desk working during the day, once an hour, I might do 5 to 10 slow air squats, just slow, and do that 5 or 6 times over the course of the day. I did that for a couple of days, and it makes me feel so much better. So I'll do that. Um, I do have one of those uh, Theraguns, like the mechanical percussion or whatever they're called, Theraguns. I am frugal by nature, the impolite way. If you ask my wife, she would say that I'm cheap. I would really never have bought one of those because they're so expensive. I was very fortunate that somebody was nice enough, they gave me one for free, so that's the only reason that I own it, and it does work. At least, it makes me feel better, so every now and then I will use that because I have a bad neck. I'll use it on my neck traps, my lats, and things like that, and I do feel like that does actually help me. I do a protein shake after each workout, sometime, 30 minutes to an hour after the workout. I would be lying to you if I said I noticed an increase in athletic performance or anything in the entire world based upon that protein shake. I do it primarily because it's a routine that I now love. It's a cookies and cream flavor, so I think it's absolutely delicious. It gets me some extra protein, which I could probably use. And to make it even more delicious, I don't I don't mix it with water. I mix it with whole milk. And it is absolutely like a delicious cookies and cream milkshake that I have every day. And it's one of the highlights of me having gone into the garage and suffered. And so, yeah, that's what I do. Let's see. Jody D. So, did you get that strict bar muscle up you talked about on this week's Very Not Random? So on yeah, Very Not Random, Adrian and I were talking about ring muscle ups versus bar muscle ups, strict versus kipping, and he has a strict bar muscle up, and he was saying it's kind of one of his circus tricks or party tricks. He's very flexible, has good body awareness, and say he's by his own admission says he just benefits from that. He can get into like the position to make that happen, but most people can't, even like games level athletes. And I was like, I can't remember. I know that I've tried strict ring muscle ups and I can do one of those. I'm like, but I don't think I've tried a strict bar muscle up. So I went out into the garage and tried one, and the answer is a resounding no, negative on the strict bar muscle up. Let's see. Okay. Final question. Told you we had some questions today. It's been 52 minutes here. From Chris G. Hi, coach. I'm looking for guidance on how to modify warm-ups when I can start when I have to start each workout with a light 1200-meter bike ride or a 1200-meter run. For context, I exercise in my home gym and I work 1200 meters away from my home. Man, that's a nice commute. Just 1200 meters. That's amazing. I prefer to use a bike or feet to travel home and work out at my lunch break. Any suggestions on how to save time on the warm up with this in mind would be great. Okay, PMS, PS, love the AMA. Okay, I know that I had something written down for this. Stand by, everybody, stand by. So, 1200 meters. Let's just call it 400 meter runs. That's 3/4 of a mile on foot or on bike. Um, and so that's obviously going to take a little bit of time into your lunch break. Depending upon what the workout is on that day and where you are in your fitness journey, what treats you well, but you could slow, medium, or fast. Do that as the way just to get your heart rate up, move your body, get some blood flowing, get the joints moving a little bit, run right into your home gym, and then potentially start loading a bar, doing something to do maybe just one or two or three gentle practice rounds of whatever the workout has to be. Like, you're asking how to specifically modify the workout here based on a time constraint. But you could run or bike to your house, and if the workout had, thrusters and box jumps and something else in it, you could run to your house, bike to your house, and then you're warmed up a little bit. Grab an empty barbell, you know, do X amount of thrusters, maybe do some box step ups, get loose a little bit, do whatever the other movement is, put a little bit of weight on the thruster bar, do 10, 12 reps, something like that. Maybe some box jumps, something else, put a little bit more weight in the bar, like a third practice round, so to speak, gently, gradually building up in both loading and intensity, moving a little bit quicker each time. And then after doing that 3 times, good to go. Put on the actual prescribed loading if you're ready for it, hit the workout and be good to go. That might be something to consider. Practice rounds, so to speak. If you're finding that based upon the commute you have to your home, you don't have time for the full regular warm up and then getting into the workout. Practice rounds might be a good thing to try. And I actually think that's great. Man, 1200-meter commute to work, that's so awesome. I mean, not having to spend your life commuting is fantastic. And I would say, even though it is a nice, I know for a fact it's a nice way to warm up because even though we don't say every warm up at Lynchpin begins with a mile run, as I've said before, I'm one of those psychos. I actually don't mind running. I kind of like it. I very often, regardless of what the warm up happens to be, will just walk out into my garage and do a mile, casual mile on the air runner, just because I like it. And then I'll start the warm up. Because as we all know, running is cool. So, okay. I think that is it, everybody, for Thursday, April 24th. Thanks everybody for being awesome. I hope that again the audio is better now using the AirPods. If so, and I'll continue to do this. Have a great day. Be kind to one another, and we'll talk later.